Welcome to Real Foot Forward, a West Tennessee podcast from Discovery Park of America in Union City, Tennessee. Today's episode is brought to you by Northwest Tennessee Tourism.
Thank you, Zach, and welcome to Real Foot Forward, a West Tennessee podcast where we explore the history, the people, and the culture of our home in West Tennessee. I'm your host, Scott Williams. Okay, Zach, as usual, can you tell me something you discovered this week at Discovery Park of America?
Well, we were recently putting some press release and marketing materials together, so I thought it would be fun to discover the lineup for the 2025 Rhythm on the Rails Summer Concert Series we have. Once again, we've got a great lineup, and I'm excited you'll get to come to the Elvis night this year, or at least I hope you will.
Yes, I would not miss it. It's going to be a great night celebrating both Elvis and Memphis, but it is a really good lineup. Who are you the most excited to hear?
I'm most excited for Jacob Tolliver. He's going to be here on the second weekend this year. He was actually there. He opened for Elvis last year, and it was only him. This time he's going to have his full band, and it should be a great show.
I'm excited to hear them all. I love all of the people that are booked, but I'm going to go to discoveryparkofamerica.com/rails. Is that
correct? That's correct.
Is that the URL right now? And I'm going to tell you there was one young man that I am particularly interested. Our emails are taking a while right now, so hold on. Here we go. Now we're cooking. I am interested in John Clayton White. He's like this young man. He's like very, very young.
Very young.
Are you familiar with him?
I am not. I was looking forward to that one as well, and that'll be the last weekend of the series.
Yeah, he's like a prodigy at like guitar playing maybe. Anyway, I am excited about that one.
13 years old.
Okay, so our guest today, I'm very excited about this one. We've been trying to get this guy for a couple years. We have Brandon Nassar, the founder and head chef. I didn't really know what to call you, but the main guru at Crave in Martin, Tennessee. We're going to talk all about cooking and the restaurant business, but welcome, Brandon.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
We really should have done this at your place so you could have cooked for us and we could eat while we talk. But I was just telling Zach I need to pick up dinner for on the way home, and I'm really craving Crave. So I'm going to find out where that name came from. But back us up a little bit first and tell us all about where you're from and where you grew up and that kind of thing.
Originally, when I was younger, I grew up in Henry County. Went to school there, and then right when I graduated from there, my father's always lived in Martin, and does all his business here. And then when I graduated, I went to Nashville. I wanted to do something different, so I went to Nashville, went to college there, worked there for a while, and I've always worked in a restaurant. So kind of, got the business degree. Was trying to work my way through that. Didn't really know exactly what I wanted, but I knew what I wanted. Just didn't know exactly that I was going to be in, restaurants. I just was hoping and praying. And eventually I went to culinary school. And from there I went to Dubai, culinary school in Dubai. And from there I came back home and slowly opened up the restaurant. It took me about 6 years to.
So you, as a kid growing up, did your parents let you cook in the kitchen? Were you interested in cooking, or did you show any glimmers of the chef that you would become?
Not really when I was younger. I mean, I was, interested in school and sports. Probably, I would say my main inspiration was my uncle had the restaurant, my dad had a restaurant, and so I was always around it. My father came over from Jordan, and he started working at Pizza Hut, and that's where he started his career and his life. He was the manager at Pizza Hut, and from that, it kind of just brought everybody. When his brother came over, they were both in restaurants, and that's what I've always seen and known, and that's kind of what brought me into today.
And always in Northwest Tennessee?
Correct. Union City and Martin.
And so when you went off to school, where in Nashville did you go to college?
I went to Bethel. I just did the satellite campus in Bethel.
So you were majored in business?
I did.
But you obviously, like all of us, you eat out. Did you, when you ate out, when you were starting to edge closer to deciding to career in food, were you starting to notice restaurants and the way they were marketed and the kind of foods, and was that little itch starting to develop?
Yeah, I mean, I always had a good inkling that I would probably end up there. That's what I always wanted. But when you're young, you kind of think you want to do everything because you see people and they're like, "Oh, this job's really cool and this is really cool," and so you never really know where you're going to land. And it kind of just swept me towards that because that was kind of the background that I grew up in. And like I said, it took me 6 years to even open that place. It was a little bit of money, a little bit of hesitation, being scared, nervous, maybe not knowing everything and just kind of slowly, you know, filled up my gaps of what I needed to know and what I needed to do, and then it all came into play.
At what point where did you say you went to? I forgot. In what international city?
Dubai.
Okay, so Dubai. That's right. I've always wanted to go to Dubai.
Same.
Um, have you always wanted to go to
Mhm.
Dubai, Zach? Maybe we should figure out an excuse, a research trip at museums, maybe. Um, what caused you to pick Dubai to go to, and talk us through what that was like, the initial days living there.
Yeah, that was really cool. Obviously, it's different. It's a melting pot, and Dubai has people from everywhere, much like America. Everybody spoke English, and of course, they spoke their native language, and that's how. But everybody communicated through speaking English. And the reason I chose that is I got online, and I was doing the research, and I was looking, and I could go to school in America, which was about 2 years, roughly a year and a half, 2 years, and then they had ICCA Dubai culinary program, which had high reviews, and it was a 6-month program, but it was accelerated. It was 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I was like, I can do this, and it wasn't insanely expensive. It was more expensive to go here in America than it was there. I mean, significantly less money, and I was like, why not? Why not just go? It was 6 months, and to just put my nose down, and that's what I did.
So for those listening who aren't really familiar with Dubai, explain what Dubai is like. To visit's one thing, but also what is it like to live there?
Dubai is crazy. I mean, there's a million things to do there. It's beautiful. It's very hot. I lost about 16 pounds, and I wasn't really trying because it is just sweltering. It's right off the ocean, so it's also dry and it's also humid at the same time. Because right when you get in the coast a little bit off to the mainland, it's just deserty dry, and then right when you're right there on the ocean side, it's really humid. All that hot air is coming off the ocean, and it's different. It's unique. They have a subway system, and that's what I took to get everywhere, and it got me to every major point. There's not really much wood over there, so there's so much sand, so everything is marble and everything is tile, and so wood is kind of like it's like you don't really see anything. Anybody that has wood is well off, and it's kind of opposite here. Everybody has wood here, so it's a beautiful city. There's a million things to do. Um, just really cool people.
What was the cuisine like? How is it different than here in the States?
Oh wow. Like I said, it's a melting pot, so it has everything you can think of. They had, the really expensive spots. When I went there, I didn't really get to do much because I was going to school, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. I would have one day to really, do what I wanted to do. And guess what I did? I was knocked out. So I was sleeping. And they really stood by that. It was 5 in the morning to 5 or 6 at night. And by the time I get off, I had to study because I had a test the next day. When I meant accelerated, it was very accelerated. We got up in the morning, we studied all morning, and then in the evening we would cook. And then by the time that was over with, I went to the malls, and I traveled and did other stuff. And they had really, really cool malls. Of course, everybody's heard about Dubai malls and the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. And I didn't get to go to that building per se, but I traveled around and looked. But the cuisine, the food there was it was definitely different. It's kind of hard to explain. I mean, of course, they had Indian food, they had Thai food, they had sushi, they had Japanese food, they had everything you can think of, but specifically they had some Arabic foods. Not anything that you couldn't find here. I'll say that. Now they had some high end stuff when they put gold on stuff, but you see that on TikTok these days. You see that on Instagram. It's kind of the same. But like I said, nothing crazy at the time. There was nothing crazy there. That was years ago. So
Now in Dubai, while you were going to school there, was it in your mind that you wanted to come back home to Northwest Tennessee and open a restaurant, or were you just going to see what happened?
that was the main thing. I was like, I want to go and I want to do something different. I don't want to open up some of the things that my uncle and my dad did were, in my term things, it was a little more simple. It was easier. And I wanted to do something more difficult. I wanted to do something that, really meant something. I wanted to be fresh ingredients. I wanted to make the best sauces. I wanted to kind of put everything together, and bring something special, back home.
So, um, clearly your restaurant is very different than, anything else, really anything else ever. It's of anywhere anything else anywhere else in both Northwest Tennessee, but also, I've been a lot of places, and it's a very unique blend of elements to create the food that you create. In your head, were you sort of, as you were learning in Dubai, and obviously you were tasting all different types of foods from all over the world, were you sort of formulating in your head already kind of what your culinary vision was, or how did that come about?
Oh, wow, that's kind of a crazy story. So, yes and no. I've always had ideas, and you go eat somewhere, and you're like, oh, I could do something like this. And so, really, I have so many menus. So, if you open up my computer and look at my Crave folder or my menu folder, I've got like 4 or 5 menus, and I've just slowly keep adding to them as I get ideas. And that's kind of the artist, the chef artistry. That's what they do. They create and they create and they create, and that's kind of what I've done. So that specifically, no, but I've created so much stuff. Really, what brought me to do food like Crave is the healthy-ish type food. The healthier side of it is I started working out very consistently, and I was trying to watch what I ate. And I was like, this is something that needs to be brought to West Tennessee. This is something that needs brought to this area because, everything is very heavy and sedating. You go out and eat something very heavy and you're like, oof, you feel pretty rough the next day, or feel pretty rough for the rest of the day. And you need to be productive. You need to be light on your feet. You need to be, your brain needs to be activated and moving. So I tried to, make that happen. I was like, hey, I can get something light, something that's giving you nutrition and something that can keep you going for the rest of the day. It powers you through the day.
So, was there anything specific that when you first started the idea of a restaurant, did you know for sure this one thing for sure is going to be on the menu?
Oh, I love curry. That man, it's crazy because I like a little bit of everything. So not nothing necessarily. I mean, there's another weird story is I was going to do a completely different menu before I opened Crave. And I kind of formulated that Crave menu in a month because I was doing something completely different. I was making the restaurant. It got pushed back a little bit further. Somebody else opened a restaurant and had some of the items that I was going to do. And I go, oh, okay, well, I can't do that. So I completely changed some of the stuff around, but nothing in particular. I won't say I winged Crave because I didn't. I've always had that, some of those ideas, but the side that I was going to, it changed a little bit. I wasn't even going to go for the healthier side. I was going to go for, you know, more burger pizza type deal, and then grind, and just a lot of other people was doing other things, and so I kind of changed it. And of course, that took a couple more years for me to even get there because my menu building was still going on. And then, like I said, so I changed all of that and open Crave, but specifically, no, nothing, not one thing on the menu has been thought about for years or anything like that.
Do you and Alan Lederman and Blake, do y'all all ever get together and have lunch and talk about the restaurant business?
Alan is a very busy man. I don't talk to. I know Alan. He used to live next to me, and I would, run up and down the road next to him. And he's moved recently, and I would say hi to him and stuff like that. But Alan's a little more private. He's not. He doesn't tell everybody his what he's got going on. He wants it to be kind of a surprise for everybody, and that's understanding. That's part of a chef. You don't want to tell all your secrets, and you don't want to give away all of the information that you want to really bring special to the public and stuff like that. It kind of wants to, he's that type of person. He wants to surprise people. And I talk to Blake almost every day. Um, we talk about things, we talk about life, obviously, but we talk about food all the time and things that we potentially would want to do in the future and maybe work together, or maybe, do this and that. But Alan's very busy. He's got he's got like what, four restaurants. He's got two Sammys, he's got the grind, and he has his new place. So that man is, very busy.
Yeah, I think a panel discussion would be really interesting with the three of you
I thought
about
about that.
the restaurant business. That would be really interesting. And as we talked about before we hit the record button, I really want to get a restaurant like what you guys do over here, something that's good but also healthy, but that would cater to all of our hundreds of thousands of visitors that come here to Discovery Park. So we'll talk about that later. But when you got ready to start a restaurant, the inside of your restaurant is also very cool and it's got a specific vibe. And how did you decide what the inside was going to be like?
Like I said, I lived in Nashville for years, and that's kind of the vibe I wanted. I didn't want to make it simple, but I didn't want to. My main focus is food, and so the inside is a bonus. Um, that was during COVID time, so everything was skyrocketing. We just happened to have get a deal on some certain things, which is the boards that we put up that goes in there, and then I went and searched out through Facebook and online and found the I guess those flat pieces though, that bench that's in there and that goes up against the windows and stuff like that. So you get that live wood look. As we did the floors ourselves, and then had that corrugated metal. That was more of the Nashville vibe. I wanted it to be inviting but also simple, and just a little bit upbeat. So, and that was the main goal there.
My favorite thing there is the peanut Buddha bowl thing that you make or whatever. I think
The
that's what it's
Thai
called.
the Thai Buddha bowl. Yeah, well,
Yeah. Yeah, I like
that
that a lot.
it's different for sure. It took me a little bit, and I'll tell you, I got that idea from that. I love Thai food. Thai is my favorite food in the
Me
world.
too. That's my favorite food as well.
Yeah, I love. Have you tried the little Thai truck there in Union City?
Yes, yes, I've eaten
Yeah,
there. I was actually just looking at their all in. But when I lived in DC, that was always if I was going to eat out, Thai is the first place. And when I travel, Thai is always the first thing I look at. My wife likes Vietnamese best, so
yeah,
we do that as
they're
well.
somewhat similar. Vietnamese food, and Thai food can be pretty similar. Now, I got that idea through, I love Thai food, like I said. It was these little summer rolls that were made from like this elasticy rice paper, and they would
Mhm.
put fresh ingredients in there, and it always came with a peanut sauce, and it was the best stuff in the world. And I tried to give them to give me the recipe for, I came in there for probably 2 years straight, and they said, well, we can't do that. But over time, I kind of emulated that and put it into a bowl.
Well, I make fresh spring rolls out of the rice paper myself at home and homemade peanut sauce, and I make tofu pad thai myself.
Mm,
So I've learned some of those things, but it's still better when you go to a restaurant and
it
get to
is.
sit down, eat somebody else's cooking. And anytime I'm in there, I mean, man, you are just hustling. I mean, I've never been in there. It wasn't completely packed. Because
The
sometimes
day
there's
shift
no
is
place
definitely
to
busy.
sit.
Yeah, it's busy. Finish what you were going to ask. I'm sorry.
Does the success of it surprise you? Are you? I mean, obviously you're glad it's successful, but
Yeah, oh,
were
definitely.
you sure it was going to be that successful?
No, not even close. I knew I do when you bring something, you know, new to the table, this is the niche market. Nobody's really doing that. You can only hope for the best. You go, well, I'm going to do something completely different, and it can either go really well or it can go really bad. And we started off, and it was, okay, and we were busy. But what it's grown into is just been far beyond whatever could have imagined. And yeah, I know I'm going to continue to grow. It took me 3 years to really get a grasp of what I'm doing and what's been going on. I haven't really looked up. I've just put my head down and I've been working every single day. And what I call is grinding it out and hustling every single day and try to make, pinpoint over all the issues and get everything just the way it needs to be. And now I can kind of sit back a little bit. And now I'm going to grow. Now I'm going to do more craves.
Well, you're back there. I mean, every time I've been there, I mean, you yourself are back there, cooking. So it's not like you've put it into place and now you've walked away and I mean, you're in there. So, yeah, it'll be great to have more around for people. As you know, I'm pushing for one in Union City, so we'll see how that plays out. What advice do you have for someone who's listening to us right now, who has a great idea like that? Whether it's a restaurant or any other kind of small business. I'm sure you've inspired people with your success. What advice do you give those who want to bring their idea to reality like you did?
Don't wait forever. That would be one of my simple advices. It took me, like I said, 6 years, and now that I've done it, um, I'm like, why did it take me that long? It was, I talk to myself all the time. Was it money? Was it this? Was it that? But it's as easy as getting a loan. I took the loan. I did what everybody else, does that starts a business, and just don't stay stagnant. You stay stagnant for too long, it will slip by. And then also, a lot of people are confused about, what to do exactly. You get to go get a business license, and then you have to apply through all the stuff through the state and pay the state every single year. It can get very, confusing, and it's a lot when you're trying to get the restaurant started, and then you're doing all these things that you don't understand or know. um, you know, what I would recommend and what it took me a long time to do is seek expert advice. If there's something that you don't know about or something that you don't know how to do, start asking questions and somebody will steer you in the right direction. And the people that do this all day, every day, will show you exactly what to do.
Now, what role? I've met your lovely wife. What role does she play in the company? Does she work there? Does she just giving you a lot of support?
Yeah, it's definitely support. She is a PA. She works in surgery at the Henry County Medical Center in Paris right now. And so she is busy also, and she's basically a doctor and keeps me keeps me on my toes. And we're a pretty busy family. And then she's about to give birth, so we're pretty close to starting our own.
About to say it's about to get even busier.
Yeah, it's about to get very busy, so we're very excited. We're nervous and excited as all parents are. We try to tell ourselves every day that we're ready, but I guess you're never really ready till it happens.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but you know what? You never get more ready than you are right now. So you might as well just jump in and get started. I
Yeah,
remember those days well.
it's crazy. Well, I'm trying to open another crate at the same time, and she's like, "We need to pump the brakes." I'm like, "Well, we got to keep going."
That's right. That's right. We're going to take a quick break and then we've got some more questions when we get back.
All right.
Looking for your next adventure? Northwest Tennessee is calling. From breathtaking outdoor escapes and charming small towns to rich history and unforgettable experiences, there's something for everyone in our little corner of the world. Plan your trip today at nwtntourism.com and explore our corner.
Our guest today is Brandon Nassar, the founder and head chef of Crave in Martin, Tennessee.
So, Brandon, I was wondering if you have any unique marketing strategies or ways that you advertise Crave.
That's a
Oh
good
wow,
question.
that is a good question. It's going to be kind of boring because I don't have anything as of yet. Literally, I don't even have Instagram or anything like that. And my success has been word of mouth. And I would do marketing, or I would invest more in marketing if I was having, I guess I would say, trouble. But I've been so busy and I've been so blessed, to have the success that I've had, that I haven't had to do anything, or honestly the time, because it's just or let me back up. I don't know how much more I can handle. Um, the day is insanely busy. The night is is great. It's not, what the day does. We're definitely a lunch spot. We're not a dinner spot. A lot of people like to wine and dine at night, and we're not that spot. We're the type of, come in and go. But I'm completely fine with that. The marketing side has been an easy part for me because we just make posts and we try to invite everybody to like us on Facebook so they'll see what's going on, if there's closures, if there's specials, if there's anything going on. And it's worked. Would I like to do a little bit more marketing? Yes. Am I, you know, I don't, I'm just scared of how much more the place can handle just because it's 1,300 square foot. It's not very big. I can't add any more food in there. And literally when we get the truck in, it's packed to the brim. So it's like Tetris sometimes. And it's a good thing to have. Like I said, I'm going to when I open the bigger spots, I'm going to try to double the space. And I planned on moving the one in Martin to a bigger location, but that comes into basically starting over and you know hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's just like, do I really want to do that, or do I want to invest in opening more craves? And I think that's the direction I'm going to go.
So are you, and maybe you're keeping this under wraps. Are you gonna run them yourself, or are you gonna work into like a franchise kind of situation, or
I would love to franchise. I don't think I'm quite there yet. And the advice that I was trying to give people earlier is seek expert advice. That's something that's the realm I don't know yet. I don't know exactly how to franchise. I don't know all the details. I've got to get all that stuff worked out. Something that I would consider. But to my realm of knowledge, that is not fully there yet. But will I be running these? I will not be running them per se. It's really about the people that I put in that place, the people that I can trust. Um, but I found somebody to open a couple, and that's the goal right now is to train as much as I can, teach him everything that I do, and but I don't have an issue with that either because I learned a lot by doing it myself. And like I tell all the new people that come into work, the only way that you're going to learn, I can teach you as much as I can possibly teach you, but the only way you're going to learn is when you're knee deep in tickets and people are lined about the door. You're going to figure out, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that better. And maybe I should have pressed this button and, communicated this, and it all gets easier. So I feel like that's for everything on every job. Everybody kind of learns at their own way, even though they're given all the tools, is which I try to do. But you give them the tools and you let them work with it.
do you feel anxiety when you're working as fast as you can and there is a line outside the door?
That's the hardest part. There's two things. That I feel that I'm different. You can go to a sit down restaurant where Blake's isn't a good example because it has so many seats, but just a regular size restaurant that has 100 seats. They're going to take those orders that are seated, and then when people get up, there's a wait, and then you sit down, and then you take those people order. For me, it's online. People walking in the door, people are calling, people are door dashing. I have like five revenues of people coming in, and there's no stopping the tickets. You take them all in, and because somebody will stand in line, they'll take the order, they'll step to the side. Next person, step to the side. And so I just get a giant influx and volume of tickets. And people are like, well, I want my stuff in 10 minutes. And I'm like, well, we got a 30-minute wait. There's nothing that we can really do. We just do as quickly as possible. And we tell people we can actually, look up there and go, okay, well, it's going to take longer. So we tell each person that steps up, hey, it's going to be a 20-minute wait. It's going to be a 30-minute wait. But it's definitely something that we try to work on and try to get worked out and all those kinks. And we've worked a lot of them out. And the next thing is a lot of the best days or when everybody comes in from the time we open to the time we close, because it's not all at once. The hardest days is when nobody comes to eat from 10:30 to 11:30, and everybody comes in from 11:30 to 12:30, and then there's a line out the door. All these tickets are lined up to the very end and all the way to the bottom. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, like y'all don't have it figured out." And we're like, "Well, we can't control that. We can't control that everybody's coming to eat at once, and that's
Yeah.
just how it is sometimes."
What do you run out of?
Everything. I've got extra coolers next door that I kind of get backed up, just in case we run out of stuff. But I don't- I've been really good. It's really not about running out of things. It's more about, well, actually, a lot. It's rice. We run out of rice a lot, so
Mm.
we've gotten to a point where we're cooking rice. I have some cooking rice going at all times. Like every hour, we're cooking extra rice, and but we've got it figured out. I used to run out of rice at 12 o'clock, and
Wow.
I would have to make it on the fly and figure that out. So now I have everything. I have all the systems set into place to make it go and say, well, look, and say, hey, we're halfway full. Go ahead and start the next rice. Dump it, get it ready. Go ahead and start another rice. So we're getting through the day.
So last question, what inspires you?
Just in general. Oh
Yeah, but
man.
just in general.
Now it's family. Well, of course, it's always been family, but what inspires me now is, man, I didn't know, like, when you're younger, you think you have an idea what you want to do. But now that I've gotten a taste of what it is to really do something cool, my restaurant obviously inspires me, my family obviously inspires me, but just the ability to create something so unique and potentially grow it into this big thing that everybody can experience, that gets me going, that gets me excited. I was working jobs like everybody else does, and it was great and it was okay, but to build something new, to build something that is your own, that's what inspires me, is to being um, creative and different. That's what I get excited about every single day.
Well, congratulations on your phenomenal success, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the cool things you're going to do in the future. When you first opened, I probably had 100 people tell me, you've got to go eat at Crave. So the word of mouth was and still is phenomenal. So congratulations on that. And thank you for the work you're doing, because I love going over there to eat. So that's also good. So, and thank you for being on our podcast.
Absolutely. That one thing I was going to tell you, when I first opened the restaurant, you came in and you was like, "Hey, we got to get you on a podcast," and I was scared to death. I was scared to death, and I'll say this now, and like I told you last time I talked to you, I'm way better positioned to talk about this now, because I probably wouldn't have had a clue what I was going to say. It was, everything was new, and now that I have the ability to give a little better advice and feel like I know what I'm talking about. But I appreciate that you guys have had me on, and I appreciate what you do for everybody that's listening, and everybody that is inspired to do things different. You guys are a blessing.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I got to say it was worth the wait. So I'm glad we waited until now. So that's awesome. And thanks to all you listeners who joined us today at Discovery Park of America. Shout out to our friends over at Northwest Tennessee Tourism for sponsoring today's episode. Our mission here is to inspire children and adults to see beyond. To plan an experience here for you and your family, visit discoveryparkofamerica.com.